I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight today, we welcome Greg Reid. He's the author of an amazing book. It is called The White Horse and the Wandjina, a memoir reflecting his life in Queensland, Australia, as a cowboy stockman, radio announcer, and writer. His narrative intertwines his experiences with horses and life's lessons, his deep Christian faith, and an extraordinary spiritual journey that includes an out-of-body experience and a connection to the culture of Indigenous Australia. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Greg, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. It's a wonderful book. And what made you decide to finally put your unique life story down on paper?
I don't know. I just had so many different, you could say, experiences, and I'd tell people, and they'd sort of shake their head a bit sometimes. And I thought it just came to me one day. I thought, look, why don't I tell my story? Well, I've still got some years in me instead of my deathbed, and I can leave that behind after I go. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the stories that really grabbed me, and it's quite unique, is your out-of-body experience. Why don't you share with the folks at home what that's all about?
Yeah, well, I was unaware up until that point that there are other dimensions apart from the three dimensions that we live in, and it was just one of those moments that come, and I was having a little bit of turmoil, and I was walking around Coromine Beach that night, and I went into the public toilets, and I had a shower,
Mm-hmm.
and under the shower, it just come to me. I said, from this point on, I give my life to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And that's then when I transposed being where I was up into the night. I was actually in the night at Gethsemane, and I didn't think much about it. I wasn't going to tell anybody, to be quite honest, for many years. And then I went to another town, and I saw olive trees. And I said, hey, they're the same trees I saw that night in the Garden of Gethsemane. Now it's starting to fit together. So that was the first of quite a number of out-of-body experiences there.
Amazing, amazing. I imagine that really deepened your faith at that point as well.
Yeah, well, I was a bit confused about it all because I couldn't get answers for a lot of things. And I was reaching out to Christ for those answers, but he was letting me find my own way.
Exactly. That's part of the spiritual journey, is that we're created by God the Father, but we're put here on earth to find our own path, as circuitous as that path might be.
Yeah.
Your book mentions learning from mistakes, much like learning to ride a horse. Can you share with us a lesson you might have learned along the way that shaped your path a little bit?
Probably the most powerful lesson that I learned was how to meditate, and actually how to get into another dimension and see things in another world. And then it was so good for my mental health. So it became a daily ritual to learn how to meditate. So I checked the Eastern religions and all those other religions out and how they go about it. Everyone's got their own way. I just found what was good, okay with me. And that's probably the best lesson I ever learned.
If someone decided they wanted to meditate like you do and have those similar type experiences, what would you say the first couple of steps are to get into a pattern of meditating? Do you need instruction? Is it something you can do on your own? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I tried music and all sorts of music. I found it to be a distraction for me. I found breathing was the key for me to get lower and deeper, and then shut everything else out. So just when you're going to get somewhere, that's when the thought will say, "Oh, look, I haven't got the steak out for dinner tonight," and all these thoughts start coming into your head. It's learning how to block them out and to just be in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Erasing everything, being in the moment, clearing your mind, being open to the experience. I think that is very, very essential. And like you said, music is often a good conduit. Reading can be a good way to start. But whatever you need to do to settle down your brain to get into that mode is
exactly.
Absolutely worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us a
So
little
true.
bit about your unique connection to indigenous cultures.
I went to school with Indigenous children, and I didn't really know they were any different to what we were, because there wasn't the racism around then that there is these days. And then I had this experience with an out of this world being called the Wandjina, and it was twice as high out of the house. It was in the middle of the day, and nobody could tell me what it was, not even the Indigenous people in Cairns where I was living at the time. So I went on a search to try and find out what this being was. Some people call them UFOs. So some people call them unexplained extraterrestrial beings. There's many ways people talk about them, but my search took me to Western Australia, to a little place called Derby, with a man that wrote a book called Yoro Yoro, and it was all about the Wandjina and the story and the whole story. I've got a book here. Can I show you what they look like?
Sure. Tell us a little bit more about the Wandjina.
They're spirit beings that we'd probably call something like an archangel. Many people that dealt with them say that they're actually they're more highly evolved than human beings, and that's why people get scared about anything extraterrestrial, because they're worried that other beings are going to come and take over, but they're not like that. So I actually went to Derby, up in the caves where they all were painted, and I've seen hundreds of them, and in meditation I've seen absolutely hundreds upon hundreds of them in meditation. So they're just sort of around me and guiding me, and I just try to do my best if I can, day by day. Yeah.
Amazing, an amazing, unique experience, one of many that you share with us in your book. From reading your book, I can see you embrace both the roles of being a healer and a sinner, as we all are, of course. What insights do you hope readers gain from your personal story?
Not to give up, even if the going gets really tough, and if you open up to other things to come into your life, and not be so narrow-minded about things when it comes to, especially religion. People tend to get very narrow-minded about how they see things, just in black and white. But if you open up and read about other religions, other faiths, you have a better understanding of yourself. Yeah, because you open up those dimensions, and you open yourself up for healing while you're doing other good work at the same time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Great advice to keep an open mind, to keep an open spirit, and of course, to keep on persevering. Never give up, as you say. Before we leave you today, anything else that you'd like the folks at home to know?
Just on the white horse, that's another being that I saw in the nighttime, as high as two houses, and I searched a long time to find the meaning for that as well. And there's lots of white horses through mythology all through the world. The one that I bumped into was the one from the Hindu. The Kalki returns as the reincarnation of Vishnu on a white horse called Devadatta. And at the end of that story, peace comes to the world. That's what I liked about the story. I'm
Amazing.
not about this, that, or anything. Actually, I just follow my own road, but some of the other things that can guide us to a better way of life, I believe.
Wonderful, wonderful. The story of the white horse, of course, and the Wandjina is two of the stories that you will find in his wonderful book. The name of the book, of course, is The White Horse and the Wandjina, and it is an inspiring memoir written by Greg Reid, reflecting upon his life in Queensland as a cowboy, radio announcer, and writer. This is a personal story, a memoir, but it has universal appeal because Greg's stories are so unique and so compelling. Greg, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure's been all mine, sir. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.